After Japanese and Chinese leaders tasted the hospitality of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's home state, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will visit Gujarat today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will accompany the Israeli Prime Minister to his home state. Mr. Netanyahu will arrive at Sardar Patel International Airport in Ahmedabad at around 10:30 this morning. Later, he is expected to participate in a road show with Prime Minister Modi. After this, Israeli Prime Minister will visit Sabarmati Ashram, and from there the two leaders will attend the inauguration ceremony of a startup exhibition. At around 3:30 in the afternoon, Prime Minister Modi and Mr. Netanyahu will visit Centre of Excellence in Vadrad. The two leaders have developed a special connect after Prime Minister Modi's visit to Israel in July last year, the first ever by an Indian Prime Minister. On Tuesday, Netanyahu addressed the Raisina dialogue, stressing that military, economic and political power as the key to great power status. Netanyahu pointed out that terrorism is a common threat which both India and Israel face and emphasized on the need to strengthen ties.
Powerful traditions, ancient cultures of which we are so deeply proud, and yet these inquiring minds that reach out for the sky, reach out for new solutions to new problems all the time. And I think this characterizes our two peoples. But I believe too that there's one thing else that binds us together. And I think perhaps it is the most important of all. We have a special relationship among the many countries. We have a special relationship to democracies. Our way of life is being challenged. Most notably, the quest for modernity, the quest for innovation is being challenged by radical Islam and its terrorist offshoots from a variety of corners, and this can upset the international system. I think that one of the ways to overcome such a challenge is to strengthen the relationship between our two great democracies. The alliance of democracies, I think, is important to secure our common future.
On Tuesday, the Israeli Prime Minister also visited the Taj Mahal with wife Sarah. The two posed for pictures at the iconic symbol of love. The two were welcomed by UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. Now, Netanyahu took time off his packed schedule during his ongoing visit to India to chat with journalists accompanying him from Israel. Reports say he spoke of India's strengths, its markets and the many agreements being signed to boost trade, security and diplomatic ties with New Delhi. But he also touched a subject that may emerge as a point of discord in the relationship, the Islamic Republic of Iran. India has good relations with Iran, while for Israel, Iran is enemy number one. When asked whether he had broached the subject of Iran with the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, here's what Netanyahu had to say. I quote, "We have spent many hours together and much of that conversation focused on Iran, the danger it poses and the aspiration for hegemony over the Muslim world and Muslims everywhere." Israel believes that a nuclear deal signed with Iran by Western powers will only allow that country to make nuclear weapons. He wants the deal to be amended. He told Prime Minister Modi that Iran is trying to establish itself militarily through its proxy organizations, the Hezbollah, in Syria, which is Israel's hostile neighbor. So how does this equation look? Let's take a closer look at the relationship between the three countries, India, Iran and Israel. Let's see how each country views the other. India recognized both Israel and Iran in 1950. But while it established full diplomatic ties with Iran, it did not do so with Israel till 42 years later. During the Cold War that ended in 1991, Iran and Israel were allies of the United States, while India was on the other side, that is, allied to the former Soviet Union. After some ups and downs over the decades, India today has good relations with both Israel and Iran. Sounds complicated? Yes, it is. Now let's see what binds India and Israel. They have a mutual foe, that is Islamist terror. They also have a growing trade and defense relationship. Israel came to India's help by providing equipment at very short notice during the Kargil war. India is Israel's biggest buyer of weapons. But India and Iran too have many common trade interests. Iran is the second largest supplier of crude oil to India, and India is one of the largest investors in Iran's oil and gas industry. India has built the Chabahar port in Iran and successfully opened a trading route that will bypass Pakistan altogether. That's not all. People-to-people relations between Iranians and Indians have flourished over hundreds of years, despite political, cultural and religious differences. So the question now is, will Iran prove to be a spoiler in the India-Israel relationship? Till some years ago, it would have seemed that way. After all, India has been steadfast in support of many other countries hostile to Israel, such as Palestine, Saudi Arabia and Syria. But not only have Tel Aviv and New Delhi forged ties, despite these differences, many West Asian powers, starting with Saudi Arabia, are now reaching out to Israel. So we end where we began. Will Iran be the new Palestine, and will that be a deal breaker or a spoiler? Meanwhile, in Mr. Netanyahu's big delegation is a boy who shares a special relationship with India. 9 years after his parents were killed in 26/11 Mumbai attacks, Moshe Holzberg has returned to Mumbai with his grandparents and Sandra Samuel, the nanny who saved his life. Take a look at this report.
Who can forget these mind-numbing images of Nariman House from 2008 when terrorists unleashed horror on India's financial capital? And this picture of 2-year-old Moshe with his nanny Sandra Samuel became the face of hope and humanity. Sandra ran out with Moshe to safety when terrorists were spraying bullets on innocent Jews. His parents were among the 6 people killed. Later, Moshe is back at his birthplace, accompanied by Sandra Samuels and her grandparents.
It's a very special day to be there and to thank God for them, but Moshe can come in the house, and also I hope they will first ever come over here.
Those who saw Moshe grow up in front of their eyes are happy that the little boy is back.
Well, I did realize that she was a little pregnant because she's taking a pregnancy walk down the street. And then I just asked her, what makes you come into such a small bylane to start a center? Well, it just happened by coincidence. I said, well, that's good. That was the last time that I actually saw after before the 26/11. Post that, I never got a chance to see her. But yes, I have seen Moshe as a child because I used to see him being walked down, strolled down by the mother, possibly to Gateway of India, through these bylanes, through the market. Well, they were to themselves, to be very honest, and nobody ever thought that there would be a 26/11 ever happening in our lives.
18th January, a very significant day, as the Prime Minister of Israel, who is in India, will be visiting Mumbai's Chabad House, and Moshe will be accompanying him along with his grandparents. With video journalist Kanti Parmar in Mumbai, Pragya Jha, WION.